Good afternoon and welcome to Business Side, the first show of 2020. And I don't know about you, Joe, but I'm feeling a bit rusty and a little bit sort of out of practice. But it's great to be back and it's great to see you.
It's wonderful, a new year, a new beginning. Do you know, we say this every year, but 2020, I think I said in 2019 as well, but 2020 has a nice ring to it.
2020 vision and all
it
that.
Does, yeah, 2020 vision. It has a nice ring. We've got an amazing sponsor as well coming into this year. Delighted to have Leo from Dún Laoghaire, so the local enterprise board in Dún Laoghaire and Rathdown, who are sponsoring the show for the foreseeable future. So we'll be speaking to them. We'll be finding out more about how they help local businesses in the area. Yep. And there's some great events coming up linked to Leo DLR as well.
That's
so
great.
It's brilliant stuff.
That's great, and I'm hearing some good feedback on the show as well. So to have them as a sponsor is just a great thing. It underpins it.
But you know, first week back, you know, everyone that I looked at, you know, were crying, sad, delirious. So this first week is always the hardest, even though it's a new year and everyone goes, it's going to be a great year. This year is just like I'd nearly 3 weeks off.
So did I. I was saying before, I felt, you know, those little tiny baby hedgehogs who just open their eyes. Monday, Tuesday, I felt like that, and I was scratching around. What's this? What are these email things?
But
by the end of the week, it's okay.
And now you're just like a big wise
a big one man.
Big wise old owl on it.
Yeah.
Who have we got today, Simon?
We have Mary Carroll from iDetermine. So welcome, Mary.
Thank you, and thank you both for having me. Delighted to be here.
It's great to have you.
It is, Mary. Yeah, you are a leadership coach. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I had a conversation just before we went on air.
Don't remember it. I've got dementia.
And we were saying that so many. It's such a broad term, you know, leadership coaching. Yeah. So the area that I really focus in on is emotional intelligence. So I work with people mostly at board level, but really I've worked with people in all levels of an organisation. But leadership coaching is really for those at senior level.
So I see you do EQ. So you do EQI leadership training plus the executive coaching.
Yes, that's correct. So normally my process is when I meet with a company, I talk to them about obviously what they're looking for, and normally the first step of the process then is having an assessment with each member of the board. So there is training involved in terms of after that there would be a 2-hour debrief with the leader, so that would go through their results, and the training piece would be really around an education, because so many people, the word again emotional intelligence is used so much.
Yeah, people run out of the room, don't they?
Yeah, they're like, what actually is this?
Yeah, what is it? Is it dealing with your emotions? Is it dealing with other people's feelings? Is it understanding who you are? What is it?
Is it more than just awareness? Good question, Joe. What is it?
Yeah. So I suppose one of the definitions given is it's emotional and social skills that together establish the way you perceive yourself, the way you develop relationships and maintain those relationships, you express yourself and deal with stress, as well as how you interpret emotional data. So I guess I would say, everything.
Your own data or other people's?
Other people's.
Okay.
So what I would say is everything you said, is it this and this? It's everything. It's all of that together.
Before Christmas and last year, everyone was talking about, being authentic and being unique, and I sort of was thinking about that over the weekend, over the Christmas, and I was trying to delve into it a little bit deeper. And what I've decided, or my thoughts have brought me to, is belief. We talk about self-esteem and but it's actually belief, and it's belief in oneself, and it's to do with the emotional intelligence. Did you ever pick up a book and you read a book and you first 5 pages of that book, you throw it down, you go, I can't get into that book, and then you pick it up maybe a year later and you read it and you go, aha, I get it now.
Yeah.
That's your belief system.
Yeah.
And everyone's belief system will be like a jug of water or a box, and what we have in that belief system is who we are. But we need to expand our belief system so we can get a bigger glass of water or a bigger box to fill. And by doing that, through wisdom and knowledge and learning, our belief system expands. So for someone who says, when you meet someone and you talk to them, their belief system might be closed in that small box.
Yeah.
And by opening up to understanding what leadership is, what trust is, their belief system opens up on that then as well.
That's spooky you should say that, because I've just written an article similar to that, and I, instead of using the box or the glass analogy, I use the house analogy. So in our everyday life, we have
everything is spooky. So.
We have our own beliefs and our awareness and our resilience.
Yeah.
And we're locked in the house, but we have to leave our house occasionally. It doesn't matter how cozy it is, to experience the world, to perceive things, to build that, to take it home and build that awareness and that resilience and that belief muscle. You can't just lock yourself in a room.
No.
Similar. So when you're dealing with clients, are you constantly observing where you think they're at? Are you looking at someone thinking, you've got a long way to go?
I try not to. I mean, I'm human.
So you must.
Yeah, I mean, what I do, so in terms of the assessment, I'm not one of these people who thinks when you take an assessment then you live and breathe by everything in the assessment. It's just a great starting point. A leadership assessment will look at emotional intelligence, and it feeds actually into a leadership framework around authenticity, innovation, insight and coaching. So there is data there which people like because it's tangible, but the coaching piece does come out with going through it, training, letting the person understand what's coming up and see what really resonates with them, because I can't really say for them what actually they need to work on. They need to really feel like the data is showing up something that represents
it's like a tightrope, or walking along that fence, and they sort of fall off and you get back on it and then you wobble, and they're getting back on the fence, and you're sort of going, okay, let's walk this journey together, let me hold your hand until you get your balance right, and then move it. Because going back to the belief system and people being unique, our brains are converters, and all that information that we have, let's call it the subconscious, let's call it the information that's coming in, our brain then will convert it on our belief system of creating fear, doubt, worry, whatever they are, and then they'll bring them through. So we are all human. We all have doubt. Show me someone that doesn't have doubt and I'll tell you they're dead. Because
we're human.
No, absolutely. I always think it's really funny, and it's to do with what you spoke about just a moment ago about authenticity and that belief and who they are and who they are at the core. I often think an assessment, if a person agrees that it is a reflection of who they are, that's the reality. And then if you work with them and there's a 360 coming back from around the business, and their assessment, for example, says they're very low in confidence, very low in self-perception, yet the business is saying generally they're perceived as being very egotistic. So you've got nearly reality versus perception, and I see my job as a coach is to help them to find a way into the middle ground.
It's funny you should say that, because I've encountered lots of people through my career who are naturally shy people, but people they work with think they're a bit arrogant. It's odd, isn't it?
And so often, and actually, it's so much
different
about
personalities.
It's to your point, unique. People grow up and they may have to develop it as a way of interacting in the world. They're very shy and they need to actually have a bit of this presage.
But it's like I would class myself as an introvert. And the reason, I'm outgoing, when I'm with people, I love having a laugh, I'm joyful, but I like being on my own.
You're private, I think.
I do. I like being on my own. I like from my escapism is going for a walk in the country with my dog where I don't see another human being.
I'm similar.
I would love that.
That's what I do. All the other stuff is that's being extrovert. So we all have different personalities without us realising, but they're so subtle.
I know.
That we don't pick them up.
It's not just introvert and extrovert. I mean, my wife says that I'm a quiet extrovert. I don't think I'm an extrovert, but she says that because I need people. I'm not actually good by myself, but I'm very quiet. I'm just naturally. So there must be a spectrum. There must be quiet extrovert and loudy extrovert, quiet introvert, loud.
Or there's that that word they use, flexible. flexible introvert and extrovert, where you can change given whatever situation.
Chameleon.
Yeah, and also it's the need. So, like, I think if you need, if you need to fit in, or
bringing it back to, say, business, right?
Yeah.
And you, like yourself, you stepped out of corporate world into the entrepreneurial world, which has its great points, and it also has that uncertainty as well.
Absolutely.
How are you coping yourself with the information that you're sharing with people? How are you using that on yourself with your new business?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think sometimes I'm better at it than others. Definitely it's a new journey, and there's all sorts of emotions that go with going out on your own that I've never felt before. Like, there's a vulnerability that I'd never really thought I had, etc. But all those feelings, I try to manage them. I do try to take on board what I preach, if you like, and really, I work with a coach myself. I have a supervisor, so that really helps. It's very supportive. It also enables me to be very aware, because I am just human. I'm going through the same thing as a lot of my clients, and I need to really work as well on lots of different areas especially when I'm starting up business. Which
is so important, because expressing wisdom comes across better than just knowledge. And the more that you experience something, then when you identify that with a client, you're saying it because, look, it's happened to me. I know what's going on, and
that's
I can hold your hand and pull through.
I think life just gives you reference points, doesn't it?
It does.
It just allows you to have a deeper empathy with people.
So the training you give, the EQI training and the coaching, are these programs you put together, or do you use third-party programs, or is it a combination of stuff, or how does it work?
It's a combination, actually. Right. So the assessments are not my own. I have I use assessments, MHS assessments, and I obviously have done the training in that. I think then it's a combination of my own training with Smurfit in executive coaching, and I have a background in psychoanalysis. So a combination of assessment training, EQI, and then my own academic background kind of makes me like I've created my own process and my own step by step with each client.
It is all step and step. Like, we all have our own processes, and we all go through stuff with people, but none of us have reinvented the wheel.
So true.
Do you know, the stuff that I use,
it's always been there.
It's always been there. And, you know, like, I use stuff in the sales and the marketing and the leadership and the self-development that I haven't invented myself. I just picked up pieces which resonates with me.
Yes.
And I've connected that and put that all in. That works.
Yeah.
And this all worked for me,
true.
And this is what's moving forward on it. So we're not inventing anything.
We put our emphasis on things that we think calibrate with us and could calibrate differently with other people.
But it's also, I think, as well, when I was when I started doing coaching, I realised I loved acting back in the day. Right. So I basically have found a way. I love doing role plays within my work. So now that has become a big part of my work with clients. So I think it's about you bring yourself to the table and your own history and your own life.
Yeah.
That
is exactly it.
It's as you said there as well, Simon, it's creating something that you go, aha, that person has come up with that. I'm putting that in my box, and that person has come up with that. And when I put these all together, it
feels right for you.
This is awesome. This is awesome on it.
No, I agree.
We're going to take a quick break, and after the break, I'm going to talk about the leadership structure and then dealing with middle management and staff as well, and how CEOs intertwine the right words? Interact with everyone in the company. We'll take a quick break.
93.9 Dublin South FM.
And welcome back to Business Eye. Yes, this is our first Business Eye of the year.
It's a beautiful blue sky day, and
beautiful. I went down to get my hair cut. I think the headphones is ruining my hairstyle.
It's like you got two horns under there.
And they were empty. The lads were all lying around. Literally nearly lying around the place.
Really?
Yeah, they said it's very quiet this week. Yeah. So
I think it goes quiet after the sales, doesn't it? There's a bit of pandemonium, and then it's like gets quiet.
It's like in the sales, they sell off all their they're stuff they want to get rid of, or is it?
I don't know.
Legit.
Do you know? Here's something I'm going to tell you. It's a bit of gossip. I dropped one of my sports jackets up to the dry cleaners, and it was sort of like there was a tinge coloured in the arm, and he was saying to me, he says, "Yeah," he says, "not going to get that out." I says, "Is that not just from a bag that I had?" He goes, "No." He says, because the way the dyeing process has changed and they're using food-based dyeing,
right,
we're seeing this more and more, that clothes are coming in that even artificial light is fading them. Wow. And they're not lasting as long because of them being more environmental friendly.
Yeah.
So that's how I was going. But
that is interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah, so that's a bit of useful.
You never know what you're wearing.
Never know. Never know what we're wearing. Yeah, before the break we were talking about leadership and we were talking about, you know, management. But I want to sort of, how do management deal with staff members and understand the issues or the concerns that the staff members have? Because sometimes the guys on the floor will know more about the company than the management, and only if they listen they will find out.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that, getting them to communicate or be better communicators internally with the staff?
Well, I think it's true awareness. The work I'm doing, I suppose, is with people usually, as I said, at a senior level. So when you're talking to them and they're describing some of the issues within the company, that's when that conversation can happen.
So would you be blunt with them and say, do you not realise that you as senior executives aren't really listening to what the people on the floor are doing? Or
no, I wouldn't actually.
Okay.
I tend to, it can happen that at the end I would take my coaching cap off and I would say, you know, I hope it's okay to share this an observation. But normally that would happen through my questioning. I would ask that through question. If I would address it through questioning rather than telling them what I'm seeing, if that makes sense, you know. And
most of the time they'd pick it up, would they?
Honestly, generally they do. And you know, and if you're asking the right questions, the level of awareness should be coming up at the same time, you know.
But with the economy booming, and with all the companies getting very, very busy, our managers or leaders kind of going, "Oh, I don't have time for this anymore now. We're busy and we're booming, and you know, we're doing it right, and I don't need this now." Is there a case of that? Because usually when companies are thriving, they sort of take
things for granted a bit.
And they take the foot off the educational part.
I don't get that sense as much as in the olden days when I'm talking about the 90s and the 80s and the noughties. I get the sense that companies and people are becoming more aware and more mature. Is that your sense?
That would be my perception as well.
I really do.
I really feel that, you know, there is an awareness now of the connection between a success from a revenue and a fiscal point of view and people. That connection is finally being made between by upper management, and they're realising they need to invest continually in their people. Yeah,
that's good to hear.
And it's also the understanding that if they become better leaders, the company can thrive on it as well. And we spoke about it last year, maybe in a couple of shows last year, Simon, was about toxicity in companies as well. I think that sort of, you know, I think people are kind of, you know, the more that it's spoke about and the more that it's mentioned, it's you know, people are sort of looking at their staff and going, okay, let's ship them off.
I think there's just a whole cultural shift, right? So, for example, my wife and I grew up in the 70s and we used to watch 70s comedy, most of which is completely shocking to our teenage daughters today, you know, sexist stuff and racist stuff and all this sort of innuendo stuff. So in just 40 years, mankind in the West has just completely shifted, you know.
Totally agree.
And that can't have escaped companies as well. It's a different dynamic.
Yeah, that's when in the 80s when we were working in companies, Simon, you know, managers ruled with iron fists, and if you didn't float in, I think you were frightened to work. Like, I remember working I was probably 16 or 17 and a part-time job, and I was working for a very large company, you know, grocery store in Ireland, and at that time they treated their managers like muck, and the managers treated the staff in a way, because that was the culture.
That,
you know,
and emotion was like a dirty word. It was nearly like it wasn't something that was meant to be part of business, was it? It was completely.
But that goes
separate.
back to big boys don't cry, and the grass is always greener, and winners succeed, losers die.
Yeah.
All that crap that was fed into our heads. Again, our belief systems.
I know. And it was easy to get away because everything today is visible. Like, you can't get away with the Me Too movement and online social media. And you can't really get away with stuff, So it was easy to be invisible and get away with stuff.
But explain to me, what's a snowflake? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, what do you think? Do you want to answer that?
I don't know. No, I prefer to.
I hear it mentioned that a snowflake. Like, what is a snowflake? Can anyone tell me what it is? Is that someone now who can't take pressure?
I think that's what it alludes to. Somebody who can't really take the pressure of life and just is a bit namby-pamby and needs support.
But is that then also a different word from when we were in the 80s going, survivors win?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it just the same thing with just a different name? That's what I'm getting at. Let's all give each other a hug. Darren, our engineer, you come in and give us a hug as well. But that's it. Yeah. So we think we're better, or we believe we're better. But is there an underlying current from olden times of war and win and everything that still is there?
Yeah. Nearly like part of our subconscious or subculture. Yeah. I would say, for sure, there has to be. And I think things are changing positively. Like there's
I hope so.
But also, I suppose it's important to always remember there's always learnings as well. There was always good stuff to learn from times when maybe it wasn't so good to work in a corporate.
Conversely, are you experiencing? You must be frustrated by things you still see happening
within organisations when you talk to companies.
Without naming companies, but there must be things.
Oh yeah, for sure, of course.
They just go around because we're human beings.
Yes.
Definitely. I mean, I still come across companies that, for example, when I talk to them, back to the conversation earlier on, they're not really listening. So while I said I definitely see there's a realisation or an awareness about the connection between people and the bottom line, revenue, fiscal, but at the same time, you go into companies all the time and they have issues because they're not listening to the people that work for them.
It's interesting because I do various presentations, and there's these 7 things, right, that I think it was McKinsey's picked up on them back in the 40s or 50s, and these are 7 blockages in companies, right, and they've been the same 7 blockages for the last 70 years. Things like lack of vision, lack of cultural awareness, lack of team engagement, all those things. Yeah, they're exactly the same every year, but just different versions of them.
If you look at the 7 of them and look at the person, it's inward. Because the person is focusing on themselves and not the team,
not the environment. Absolutely.
And that's where it's evolving from. But the other part of it is going back to the snowflake and going back to the winner and all. We're also now frightened to disagree. We're frightened to disagree in case we offend.
I had this chat with my daughter. My daughter's a vegan, and she was going, "You're eating too much meat," and we're saying, "Okay, we are, but we're entitled to our opinion as well."
Yeah.
There's almost like you can't. The old school can't give its opinion.
I know.
Everybody has an opinion.
Yeah, but here's the question: is everyone has an opinion? Everyone is agreeing with everybody, but it's okay to disagree if it's constructive disagreement.
Yeah.
And you're both on the same sort of parallel street for right, not to be, it's be nice. But if I disagree with me and let me have them go, that's what I'm finding as well. It'd be very boring
if everybody thought the same.
Do you have any clients who disagree with the conclusions you give, or?
Not really. I mean, I don't so much come in and say this is what you need to do. The basis of my work is getting them to realise what they need to do to help themselves. So really they're disagreeing with themselves at the end if they're disagreeing with the solutions that they come up with.
What about conversely? Do you see clients they have that light bulb moment? Wow, I didn't realise that. If I just do that.
And that is a great, for me, even as a coach, moment, I mean, we all have our egos and all. That's a great feeling when you see somebody have a light bulb moment and they have that aha moment where they go, that's what's going to change things for me positively, That's
what
brilliant.
What is ego? I used to believe that we didn't need it. I now believe
everybody
we do.
needs it. Ego,
yeah.
Ego is for protection. I mean, there's a good aspect to ego, and then there's the false pride. But ego is a positive thing if it's used the right way. It's for protection.
So there's two levels of ego.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah,
there's two sides of the coin.
Yes, one is protection.
Yeah,
and the other one is
false pride and arrogance and
comes from
fear.
Okay.
It's fear. Ego. The bullies in the schoolyard were the cowards.
Oh yeah, it's fear. Yeah, it's like
the same in corporates, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
I disagree with him all the time.
I think when you go in, though, and you have a conversation, the person in front of you has had a unique life, a unique experience, and whatever's brought them to their point, you're there to kind of help them.
It's valid,
yeah.
Yeah, it's 25%. You'll know 25% of someone. It's the 75% you don't know, and that 25% of that 75%, they could be screaming.
Yeah.
And do managers do you teach people to pick up on that other, talking about emotional intelligence, that other 25% that you don't see, to make them be aware of? Because if you speak to someone long enough and listen to them, you can really pick up what's going on subconsciously and within your own.
Yeah.
Do you experience that?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, the gift, as they say, to be really listened to is like, how many times do people really listen? Half the time people are checking out this way. So even just working with a manager to make them realise that actually they're not really listening to their staff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even when they're conversing, they're having a conversation, their mind is on the next meeting, their mind is on the meeting before, their mind, and what they need to do to change it, helping them to become aware of techniques that they can maybe check themselves in those moments.
So what are your plans for this year in terms of the business and in terms of yourself and how you develop your business?
I think, my priority still, Simon, is very much growing the business. So it's, as I was saying, I'm working with a lot of clients and I'm still doing a lot of business development. So the focus will be on growing clients, the number of clients still, and trying to expand that.
Why did you decide to take the leap? Why did we all take it?
I don't know, it just was time, a feeling, a gut feeling in the stomach saying, and it's kind of like now or never. That's what it felt like. So I decided, okay, take the risk, go with your go and do the thing that scares you.
Why? What was your why?
There was an entrepreneurial spirit in me that was always there from the day I used to be a solicitor in an office behind a desk thinking I'd rather be out there selling apples on a stall. There was just an unrequited spirit in me. Feeling. It was always there.
Yes.
I don't know why it was there.
I'd that myself all the time.
Yeah, always.
All the time. And I remember one day after being employed, self-employed, and then going back into employment, and I remember going, oh my God, I have to ask someone's permission to go for a cup of coffee. I get my dry cleaning.
Yeah. The salary was good. That was great stuff, but you can't beat the ideal is to have your own business, is to satisfy that spirit and have enough cash coming in to pay the bills and stuff and to see your business growing. That for me is the dream.
The question now, are you horrible?
Horrible in what?
Horrible or unhorrible?
I think I'm getting towards unemployable. Because I do so many different things.
Yeah. It goes that way. I think so. It does, that conveyor belt.
Yeah, I'm kind of relaxed with that now.
Yes, but that's it. But then, we have the joys of being able to live a fulfilling life, and you don't have to worry about, you make those decisions, and if you don't like them, you change them. Yeah. With no consequences.
So you're going to keep track of how the year progresses and see where you calibrate in that journey as well, Mary.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the dream is what you were just saying there, 2 or 3 years, the focus will be on having X number of clients and really being in a position where I'm no longer considering ever having to go and work for somebody else again. Yeah. I'm feeling...
You have to be patient. It does take 2 or 3 because you have to build that reputation.
It's so true. And I'm a very naturally impatient person. It's something I struggle with.
3 to 5 years.
I usually
10. Can take 10 depending on where you want to go, but the first 3 years are the hardest. And
the first 3 definitely.
And it's not understanding the amount of time it takes to find your clients, the amount of money that it takes
Yeah.
within the company as well, and the uncertainty as well. There's all these things, but it's like the hero's journey, which you're probably familiar with, and it's that fall. And it's been able to, when all that stuff is thrown at you as an entrepreneur, you still kind of march along up that hill going, I keep going on this.
I wasn't at the Pendulum Summit, but Molly Bloom apparently was one of the speakers. There was a film made of Molly's game, and she said that the keys for her were, if I can get this right, were having the right mindset through meditation, number one. Number two was constantly examine your intent and your motive, and number three was action, right? So you can't be lazy. You got to keep, but you got to constantly look at your motives, and if you're deluding yourself with this, you got to change course.
Inspired action.
Yeah,
and also its speed of delivery. So if you get that great idea and you go, this is it, brilliant, and you don't take that action, but you still think about it, you lose that momentum from the inspired action, and then when you do actually release it, it has fizzled out because you didn't. It's speed of delivery. Speed of delivery is I've learned is crucial in it as well.
So what would your ideal clients be this year?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, it's just companies that are really interested in developing, so that's very broad, but ideally you're looking for companies that have kind of 50 to 100 staff or more, and again have the budget, because that's so important. It's no point in talking to companies who think it's fantastic, they really want to work, but they don't really want to invest. So they want to invest, and they have the numbers that warrant it.
And there's a load of coaches out there, but in terms of, without putting you on the spot, what would be, if somebody were going to choose you ahead of somebody else, why would they go with you?
The emotional intelligence piece is what I specialise in. So individuals or companies that are having problems with conflict management, for example, managers who simply are great at what they do, but they're not good people managers. They don't really know how to deal or interact with people. Communication skills, all that sort of stuff. And also then just people who are up there and they are playing, they have a facade and they're trying to kind of at the same time deal with their own insecurities and confidence. They're leaders and they want to be stronger, you know.
And
great.
Be stronger. That's it. Where can people find you if someone wants to reach out? Have you got a website? Have you got a LinkedIn profile? Shout them out there.
Yeah, sure. My website is www.idetermine.ie. My mobile is 086 027 1778, and my name is Mary Carroll iDetermine, so you can definitely find me on LinkedIn as well.
And do you write articles up on LinkedIn?
Not at the moment. The plan is to do some writing this year, but I haven't started, and it's something that's
action causes reaction.
Action causes reaction, exactly.
That's it, Mary, it's been a pleasure having you on our first show.
It was absolutely lovely to meet you both and talk to you both. So, and thank you for having me. Okay,
and talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot.
We're going to take a quick break, folks, and we'll be right back.
Your community radio for South Dublin. This is Dublin South FM.
And welcome back to Business Eye. And just another quick thanks to our show sponsors, the local enterprise board at Dún Laoghaire Rathdown, which is a wonderful development for the show and a real validation. So we have another guest today in the studio, Gráinne Clancy. Welcome.
Thank you for having me back. Great start to the 20s.
And you have about the smiliest face I've ever come across. How either what are you on, or what do I need to do to have that smiley face?
No, she's not.
It's unreal.
Gráinne is always happy. If you see Gráinne all the time, she's one of the happiest person. The last time we seen Gráinne, she thought she was on here, and she nearly burst into the show when we were on air. She nearly burst in because she saw a post up on social media.
I did.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. And I thought, I've got it wrong, and I was quite stressed at the time, actually. So so my thinking was out the window, and I thought, I had no makeup on, nothing.
You ran in and you were all
panicked. I was really flustered.
Why is it's right there? But it's great having you back.
It's lovely to be back. And Happy New Year to you.
So tell us, what's been happening? What's happening? A lot, yeah.
Yeah, there's this real shit. So for me, there are a lot of dreams came true. Like I got to go to Canada last year, and I wanted to go to Canada since I was 8. So yeah, a long time, and that was the most amazing experience just to be there.
That.
Yeah, and just to tick that box, like that was a lifetime goal.
You were the last time we spoke. You were with Mary Kay.
That was a couple of years ago. Yeah,
and you were putting on some workshops, and I know that you post up regularly on LinkedIn about you're doing some workshops. Are you running some of them this year as well?
I am, yeah. So I've 3 booked. So I'm very lucky that
I'm coming to one in a couple of weeks, aren't I?
Yeah, there's one in March, on the Friday the 7th of March. So it's 2 hours, and it's deliberately from 12 to 2, and it's basically to get people to slow down.
Is that what it is? Like, what's happening? In your opinion, what is happening? Are people rushing around? Are they not focusing? Are they lost?
Or sleepwalking?
I think all of that stuff.
It's fear, isn't it? Like, you just look out the window and people are running around doing this and that.
Look at the window, you see Darren.
He's as chilled as anything.
I hope he isn't asleep, because he's the engineer for the show.
But it's mad. Like, why do we rush around so much? Why do we?
I think there's that. Like, we all grew up. We were born in the 70s. We grew up with
60s,
60s, keeping up with the Joneses,
80s.
right?
Yeah.
So yes, we grew up in the. So you've that, but you also have this social media. And what do we do? So I think the way I speak to clients about it in the room is that we've got this tiger or whatever your scary animal is behind us.
Yeah.
Because there's this, belief system. You talked about that earlier. The importance of our belief system is that we should be doing this, we should be doing that, we should be doing the other. No, like why? Like,
yeah, but here's the other thing as well, right? We're all in business.
Yes.
We all want clients.
Yes.
Clients put food on our table.
Yes.
Social media now has given us the platforms to reach out to more people.
Yes.
But we also criticise it. So, on one end, it's great, and another end we've a pain with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
is it us then? It's not.
That's the question I'm getting at. Is it?
I think it is.
Is it? It's only a platform.
Yeah.
It's only a bit of software. So, back to you about slowing down.
Yes.
It's what people perceive it to be, to perceive what they want to perceive themselves as, and what other people see them. I'm going to be a tongue twister, as they perceive what other people perceive them as being. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not the tools. It's us. Like you posted the other day. You were walking on the mountains. I bet you weren't worrying about social media up there, right? And this week I'm going to Cork with my wife. I'm not really going to be worrying about this stuff. I'm going to slow down. Alternatively, I could choose to stay at home and be a catastrophist and worry about my business and stuff. So we all have a choice, don't we, really, as to whether we slow down or just go mad.
Yes, we all have a fundamental choice in every single thing that we do.
A fundamental choice, you're right, Gráinne. That's it, I'm leaving.
Why do we stop at traffic lights? Why do we stop when it goes to red? For safety. But that is a choice that you're making.
Yeah, but it's a wise choice.
A very wise choice, because the chances are that you'll get knocked over. So, but so we're risk assessing.
But it's funny, we take ourselves for granted. I was just talking to a previous guest and during the break, and without mentioning names, somebody I've known for 3 years, very successful person, has been diagnosed with serious cancer. And I met this person earlier this week, basically to say thank you for helping me 3 years ago, and we think we're impenetrable. Like I think about this often. We're all running around building our businesses, and we think we're impenetrable. I might not wake up tomorrow. There's a 50-50 chance I won't, because I'm a human. I'm going to die one day.
Yeah.
So, just chill and enjoy stuff. Just enjoy life.
But that's scary. Thinking about death, the finality of death.
It doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. Do you know, on my deathbed, I swear to God, I will be going, right, now I'm going to get these answers. I swear to God, because I think we just move on to it. We are energy and we just move on. So I will be going, right, going to get a few answers answered here.
I think it's the converse. I don't think people think enough, because they're sleepwalking. I don't think they realise that one day this is going to come to an end.
Yeah.
So what's the point of killing yourself? Just enjoy every single day.
Here it is, right? Worry, right? So if I get something that lands on my desk or in my head and creates a vacuum of worry, I now look at a Gráinne and go, oh my God. Yeah. And I go, hold on, what can I do, or what can this do to affect me? The only thing is I'm worrying about it, which is emotionally upsetting me. Yeah. So let me take that worry and put it away and look at it on how can I resolve this or ignore it.
I do
and
the same
that's
now.
what I do.
I do the same now. And it works through, doesn't it?
It works through. Like
everything passes. Good stuff and bad stuff passes.
Someone told me before Christmas, I was saying, Howie, he says, I'm happy. He says, yeah. He says, I'm really, really happy. And he says, you can't be really happy. You can be positive, but you can't be really happy. And he says, no, I'm really, really happy. I'm really, really happy all the time. And I think they kind of said to me, no, you obviously you're going to have a breakdown because if you're happy.
You're too happy.
Because you're too happy. But I am. I'm happy.
Yeah. I'd be the same. so Gráinne, so we met, when was it, about September at the RDS, and you said before the show, it was like our souls connected a bit.
It really was. It just was.
Souls in the night.
It was a lovely. It was one of my favourite chats of last year.
Yeah.
But then you went on and you've qualified now.
Well, I had qualified. So from the college. Let me explain the journey. Yeah. So when you train as a counsellor psychotherapist, you're a student member of the Irish Association of Counselling and Psychotherapy. Yeah. So you graduate from that. So I had a graduation ceremony from that. But then you become a pre-accredited member of the Irish Association of Counselling and Psychotherapy, iacp. And then you work 450 hours.
Right.
And you become a fully accredited member.
How does that work? Do you have to find that 450 hours? Or
so every 1 hour
you have to find
is one client.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So it's hard work to fully, and that's what you did this year. You fully.
So on the 23rd of December,
wow,
I achieved that status. So it's a great Christmas present. Yes, I was delighted.
How do you feel that you're going to change people's mindsets in 2020 by making them be more aware?
Oh, tough question.
We're not going to hold you to this one.
I think society is shifting. You know, you look at the advertisements on TV with insurance companies, there's a shift occurring. So what I would say to listeners is phone up and inquire. If you're thinking, I can't afford counselling, phone up and inquire, because there's a good chance you'll get a good chunk of the counselling session paid for.
I think everybody needs some stage in someone's life. I think everybody needs it. Like many years ago, I remember going to a psychotherapist, and I had 4 sessions with him, and it was the best 4 sessions that I ever had.
Yeah,
and it unlocked something in my brain that just made me go, I get it now. Yeah, you know, and I think that.
I've done the same.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant that I think we all feel that we need to bottle things up, but when you say it out loud, it is released.
Definitely. And all I do is, you know, and in essence what I'm doing, and it's so powerful, is I listen.
Right.
But I don't judge. So I accept you for where you are.
So how does it, so for those people out there who've never been through counselling, how would that work? So you're saying you listen, okay. There'll be some people listening thinking, well, okay, all she's doing is listening. How's that going to help me? How does that actually help?
Because I'm accepting you for where you are at that moment in time. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to fix you. Okay? Yeah. You have the power within yourself. I might say, I have a big toolbox, okay? Is the way I describe it, full of different things that can help you. So I might say, maybe try this, and maybe try. But that, I'm holding you, I'm listening to you, and I'm holding you where you are.
So you're saying what people just need to do is communicate more and connect more with other human beings.
With how they're feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
With their thoughts and their feelings, and not push it down.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah.
Gráinne, where can people find you?
So they can find me, I'm quite a few places. So if they put in Evolution Counselling online, I'll come up. So I'm on Google Maps. Yep. So I'm based right beside Marion Square, 3rd floor. So it's 6 flights of stairs you go up. LinkedIn as well, yes. Yeah. Twitter. Facebook, I'm locked out of, and I'm not in any rush to get back into.
Have you got a website?
It's kind of on Google, yes.
Okay, so it's on it as well.
It's there, yes.
And So if someone wants to reach out to you, Twitter, they'll find you on there, find you on LinkedIn, and
my phone number is everywhere.
What's your email address?
It's Gráinne@evolutionc.ie.
Brilliant. And also, just there's another one as well we just want to mention as well, which is Men's Sheds, and that's mensheds.ie, and that's something we have men's sheds here on the station, which is once a week. But there's also, we believe, there is one setting up in Booterstown. It's one in Blackrock, but the Booterstown is a new chapter of Men's Sheds, and that's again gentlemen who want to get together and talk about from gardening to woodwork to mental health, whatever
it's
needs being as well.
It's a great thing, yeah.
Simon, tell us, new website for you?
New website launched this week.
Give us it out there, give us a shout out. It looks great, by the way.
Thanks very much. It was like giving birth. It took 4 months, and I just want to shout to Robbie Caffrey, who has been just my trusted creative guy for a couple of years. He was very patient. But simonhaigh.com, and I'm so excited, and I've already got 3 or 4 new client inquiries this week, so it's going to be a great year.
It is.
It is indeed. And myself, things, moving along nicely.
Yeah.
We're happy out. I have an event on the 25th of January, another Change Your Mind, Change Your Life in Airfield. That's going to be an awesome
great
event. Will you come to it this year?
I think so, yeah.
It's going to be a great event. They're getting better and better.
I've heard really, really positive.
They're brilliant.
Have you been to
No, I haven't been to
I was at the last one. It was great.
Yeah, I've heard really positive.
We have a mastermind as well. So we have to wrap up. We're getting signals from Darren inside. Business Eye 2020, roll it on, and thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you again next week.